Time to talk about the hit sequel for the highly anticipated. I can't. It's Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. This trailer for Escape Room Tournament of Champions seemed utterly ridiculous and just stupid, and like to the point where I was mad that I actually had to go watch and review this film. I thought Escape Room One was fine, very forgettable. It reminded me of like what was a Saw Light. The biggest thing about that was the production of the rooms of the traps, and that was sort of what the highlight of that film was. You had some character moments with Deborah and Wall and whatnot. That movie did a good job of sort of introducing characters, and you spent a slight bit more time with each character and sort of learning them and getting some characteristics before you put them to slaughter. This film spends about a good first 15, 20 minutes setting up previous characters that you already know and then introducing new characters that you hardly ever get to spend any time with. So if you were trying to get in, for me, horror movies work the best when there is some sort of connection to the character before they are put through peril. This, you don't really get to do that. This is more so you get less character development here. It's sort of just like we're going straight to the meat and potatoes of it all. And so if you want to get any type of connection, there are characters that seem like archetypes of characters, and so it's more so they're like we're full in, we're putting all our money in. This is all about the production value of these set pieces, and I will say this: those set pieces are great. When you get into these traps, they are fun, they are intense, and I will say, at the heart, when you're watching this movie, at the moment when you're watching this movie, it's fun, it's entertaining, it does its job. It's a very stupid in and out. It's no longer than 80 minutes, 90 minutes long. They're in and out and it succeeds at being entertaining. When you start thinking about the movie, though, that's when the wheels start falling off quickly. It is a very convoluted story that when you sort of like John Wick. So you think about John Wick now and what it was when it first came out and what it is now. How is this great world where no one is not a part of the John Wick? Everybody's an assassin, got a coin, or it's a safe haven. That's what happens with this film. And the more you think about it, you're like, oh, so everybody's in on this. So there are literally about 60 people who aren't a part of this world organization of escape rooms, and then the rest of them are all in on it. That seems excessive. And so when you start pulling up the strings and whatnot, it gets a little bit ridiculous. It's a very highly predictable film. When you get to a twist and you get a character reveal that has something to do with everything, it is immediately obvious where the rest of this is going. And you're just kind of like, all right, at this point, we're just in for the ride. I think our two leads from the previous film, Taylor Russell and Logan Miller, who played Ben and Zoe, they do an admirable job. They do a great job of spearheading this on. But even now, thinking about it, how quickly and briskly this moves, it is difficult for me to explain to you or tell you much about the characters that also are in the film, other than some of the women, and that's more so because of their physical archetype, more so than their characters. What happens in this film, which sort of is a bit more that I would want to get more information about, is that they give us this line that this is sort of the Tournament of Champions. All the people that exist in this film have survived and escaped from previous escape rooms. But each set of that, if you sort of remember from the first escape room, that grouping that Zoe was a part of, they were all lone survivors. Like something had happened to the family where they were the last ones alive. Well, what we've learned is that each set of these champions come from, their groupings were all different. We have one who's from the clergy and like a bunch of priests, which just sounds like a bad joke. They even make mention of that. You have one who is an influencer, and it was in a room with a bunch of other influencers and so on and so forth. I won't tell you them all. Some of them are more ridiculous than others, and then one of them we don't learn until later on in the film because it's it's a reveal, but it never becomes important really into the character to this particular film. Although they give it away and spoil it in the trailer, from what I recall. But that is where the heart of this film would be. But they care so little about it. They just drop that breadcrumb and then they're like, cool, we got another production set piece. So they take these moments where production set piece, small little intimate moment, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then we go right back to a production set piece. And as we go along, we lose more people, so then the characters just stop mattering. Just like, all right, cool, now we're just here to show you the sweet shit that we came up with. Like, I'm sure there's a room somewhere for the writer's room of this, and just like, what crazy design can we come up with? Cool, that's what we're going with. Can we write a story around that? Doesn't have to be that good. Just make some stuff up and say how we get from point A to point B. That's what Escape Room 2 Tournament of Champions does. And when you're in it, when you're watching it, it feels good. Second you leave, you're like, what the hell was that? So it's a mixed bag. I very much am entertained. I love escape rooms. I love the puzzles. The issue with these type of films is this. A lot of the puzzle solving is what the audience is trying to do as well, but you don't get the clues of everything until the characters in the film do. So you're never a step ahead as far as the puzzles go. You're just a step ahead into the logics of everything else that's happening in the world around them. So you're kind of just like, I know where this movie's going. I see where we're getting from point A to point B to point C. I'm here to see these crazy puzzles, and I'm having fun in them. But I just wish there was a little bit more interactive. Like, that's what's missing. Because the person who loves escape rooms is kind of like, I want to see more or see the intricacies of these puzzles. These puzzles are well done. It's just, the story's not. So, on my scale of once is enough, play it again, Sam, give me a time stone so I never have to think about this film again. I walked in thinking I would never want to talk about this movie again. But this was the once is enough. I will never watch this movie again, just like I never watched Escape Room 1 again. But in the moment of actually being in the theater, if you want to just have a popcorn movie to kind of just go enjoy yourself, quick, brisk, and then come on out, this is the one to do. I don't know. This movie, like all horror movies, but this one specifically, leaves itself open to a third. I just don't know how much bigger this world gets, and I don't know if there's a need to go to this world again. That first movie made quite a bit of money on a $9 million budget. It made over $150 million. I don't see that happening again, just because of the sheer stuff that's the world and how people aren't actively going to theaters like that again. And there's just so much stuff coming out. So I don't know if this audience is going to be as fervent for it as they were the first time. But we'll see. But if so, I mean, sure, I'll keep watching, but it's just one of those ones where it's in it. Like, unlike horror movies like Saw or obviously in the classic films like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, where you revisit those, or Halloween when you revisit those, that's not ever going to happen with this escape room franchise. It is what it is. You get in, get out, and you move on. But that's how I feel about Escape Room Tournament of Champions, which sounds, still saying it, like a ridiculous title. And even when they say it in the movie, you're like, that's the only eye roll. I thought there were going to be a bunch of eye rolls in this movie. That was the only one. But that's how I feel about it. What did you guys think? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI, or you can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. It's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any other place podcasts. We're there. We are currently, we have the Black Widow episode up now. I believe we're going to be doing Space Jam this weekend. And we are also doing our Marvel pair-ups with our guest host, Jamie Jarrett, talking about Loki and pairing that up with a time travel movie and seeing what things are similar, what we're not, and just discussing both the episode and whatever time travel film we decide to discuss. I believe this next one's going to be Terminator, which, I mean, you have to end with the classic time traveling movie. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.